Hi everyone. So today I have a very interesting and exciting class ahead for you. This class is for answer writing. In this class I am going to first discuss an answer writing checking format or self-evaluation format that I have developed, and I think it's a great framework which you can use to self-evaluate your answers, whether you are writing answers well or not, especially for students who cannot afford any coaching or who are not able to take any coaching classes or who are not able to access test series. You can definitely use this framework in order to improve your answer writing skills. And even for students who already have coaching classes or who have enrolled into mains answer writing classes, this framework will really help you to develop self evaluation techniques for your own answers. And second, I'm going to discuss, in fact, I'm going to take a live answer writing class where I will discuss how marks are given to that answer, what are the various drawings and diagrams you can use to enhance your answer. So like this, you will get a live real perspective of how UPSC questions are answered in the mains. Okay, so this is going to be a very good and productive class and you will get a lot out of it. Now to give you a little bit of a personal suggestion, everyone has a different writing style and everyone is going to have a different answer writing method of their own. But that being said, I think if you follow this broad framework, this will really help you to improve your answer writing over a period of time. This is the framework for the self evaluation of answers. Number one, what is the level of conceptual clarity that your answer is communicating, or the answer that you have written in that, what is the level of conceptual clarity that is coming through? I think that is the most important part of the entire question when it comes to marks. If you conceptually are presenting your answer well and you're providing most of the points that are expected to be provided for a well aware person for that topic, then you will get marks. So if it is a 10 marker, you will get maximum 4 5 marks out of it. I think that's how you should evaluate yourself. And if it is a 15 marker, then 7 marks, right? So around 40% of the marks of that question depend on what is the level of conceptual clarity and what is the level of points that you're giving for that question. So that will include, what does conceptual clarity mean? Conceptual clarity means that you are able to provide good definition and main concepts in a very succinct and clear way. You are able to provide suitable examples to support your answer, that question that has been asked. And thirdly, that you are answering what is asked. You are not giving solutions, you are not giving critique, you are not giving any points that is actually not asked for. One of the main things I have seen a lot of students confused with is that they are providing their own solutions, they are providing their own added data or information that is not even asked in the question. Coaching institutes always tell you should provide solutions in your question. Why should you provide solutions in your question if it is not asked? अगर पूछा ही नहीं है तो प्रोवाइड क्यों करना है? So only answer what is asked. Don't try to answer things that are not asked. Okay, so these are the things that will show your conceptual clarity and for which around 40% of the marks of the question are weighted. Okay, the next thing is going to be whether you are able to answer all the parts of the question. This is very important. There are many parts of the question normally in UPSC and you must be able to answer all of these parts. If you are not answering all of the parts of the question, all the different question the question expects you to provide, then you will not be able to get good marks in that question. And I think to that you can give around 20 to 25% weightage. Okay, so first you can look for whether your answer is providing these things, conceptual clarity. Second, you can look for whether your answer is answering all the parts of the question. Third, you can look at the relevant keywords and information. Some questions will expect you to provide certain keywords that are related to that topic. So for example, if there is a topic on Indian art and culture, it is on Indus Valley civilization, about the development of sculpture in Indus Valley civilization, then in that question of development of sculpture in Indus Valley civilization, you are expected to write a few examples, write a few keywords associated with the type of sculpture the Indus Valley people developed. So that is important and that will fetch you marks. Okay, so for that I would keep 20 to 25%. It should not be opinion based or balance. It should not be opinion based. So it should not be opinion based. It should be purely informational in nature. Opinions do not have any place in answer writing for UPSC. Okay, so don't write opinion of any expert, write information. And it should be balanced. It should not be leaning too much to one side. unless the question requires you to lean too much on one side. If it is a kind of a question that expects you to have a balanced approach, then provide a balanced approach. Okay, and then articulation. Of course, articulation means clarity in presentation. Your presentation of a particular topic should be clear. Whatever you are presenting should be clear. It should not be confusing the person who is reading it. Handwriting should be clear. It should not be too beautiful. It doesn't require to be too beautiful, but it should be clear, and you should be able to articulate the point easily, put across the point. Your language of English language does not have to be flowery. Okay, it's not required to be flowery or very polished. It can be simple language, that is good enough. Okay, so now this is the framework. If it's a 10 marker, then out of that I have given 4, 2, 2, 2 like this, and if it is a 15 marker, I have given 7, 3, 3, 2. So like this I have divided the marks, 4 or 7, 2 or 3, 2 or 3, 2 or 2, and likewise you can mark your own answers when you are preparing for the answer writing. So what I would suggest is, once you have done a test series, look at a few questions. It's not possible to look all the 20 questions. Look at least 3 or 4 questions. Now I'm going to go ahead and actually do a live answer writing for you from CS Mains Exam 2020 General Studies Paper 1. And the question I have in front of me is, discuss the geophysical characteristics of Circum-Pacific Zone. 150 words, 10 mark question. Discuss the geophysical characteristics of Circum-Pacific Zone. So this is clearly a factual question. I'm going to start my stopwatch here and see how long it takes me to answer this question. Now I should try to write this question maximum within 7 minutes. Okay, not more than 7 minutes, or I should try to save time, because like I discussed in my last video, this is the amount of time you should take. Okay, so basically I boxed it, I provided the basic definition. Okay, you can meanwhile also use a pencil to kind of do this marking so that it gets extra, it can be easily seen by the examiner. Okay, if you have time, that you can do at the end also. Now I have come to the various characteristics of the Circum-Pacific Zone. Now I will switch to the diagram mode and I will try to see if I can quickly draw the diagram here. So as you can see, I have taken 8 minutes to answer this question. I think I went a little bit over time because I am not well versed right now in this, and it is less than 150 words and I have pretty much summed up everything. So we will come back to this question and evaluate it. Now I will show you a second question that I will do. Okay, so I will keep this on the side. Same 2020 exam, paper 4. Okay, for paper 4 I have taken here a little bit of a harder question. Okay, this is the question number 1B. Education is not an injunction. It is an effective and pervasive tool for all-round development of an individual and social transformation. Examine the new education policy 2020 in light of the above statement. Okay, so let me answer this question. I'll just fold this. Keep this here for your reference. Okay, my time has started. So of course I'm just doing this practice, so I'm leaving some part and I'm not really kind of drawing those boundaries here that are there normally in the exam. Okay, so here I will write NEP 2020, so later I can use NEP 2020 in the answer. Okay, so you can just do this or you can make an arrow. So what I'm doing is I am first opening with the definition and with the main point which is given in the statement, and then I'm going to examine the above in the new in the light of this statement. This is the main, so I have highlighted that. I've given the first point. Now pay focus on my conclusion. Okay, this is very important. Alright, so I've finished. I've taken around 8 minutes 53 seconds, so now almost 9 minutes to answer this question. And later I can come back and use 2-3 minutes to highlight things. You know, if I want to through my pencil or through my pen. I underlined some through my pencil, so I can use my I have underlined some using my pen, so I can use my pencil also to underline things just to highlight them more. Okay, so here is the model that I provided you, and we are going to see whether we are able to meet the 4 parameters. So conceptual clarity we should have. So the first thing that we are going to look at is conceptual clarity, whether we are having the definition, suitable examples, and we are answer what is asked in the question. So that will be the framework for conceptual clarity, checking that. The second thing we are going to check is whether we have answered all parts of the question. Okay. Third, we are going to see whether we have used relevant keywords, examples, diagrams, information, etc. Okay. Number 4, we are going to check articulation. That is whether we are clear. Okay. 4 things. So the first question, if we look at it, we have provided the definition, accurate definition, simple definition. Circum-Pacific zone is the path along Pacific Ocean characterized by active volcanoes, tectonic activity and earthquakes. So this was the simple question about discuss the geophysical characteristics of Circum-Pacific zone. Simple. What does the word discuss here mean? It just means that provide or tell us about. Okay, there is not some hi-fi meaning of discuss here. You should not apply too much of your mind just thinking what does discuss mean. Do I have to give my own opinion? Do I have to discuss in my own terms or in my own ways? No, you have to just provide the definition of Circum-Pacific zone and various geophysical characteristics of that zone. So the definition is clear. It is the path along Pacific Ocean characterized by active volcanoes, tectonic activity and earthquakes. Keywords are also here, see. Like I have asked you to put keywords. Keywords are also here: tectonic activity, active volcanoes, earthquakes. Okay. It is also known as the ring of fire. So this is part of the definition. This is the other name of the Circum-Pacific zone. It consists of various archipelago like Japan, Philippines, Indonesia, Chile, etc. So by providing all this information, you have showed the examiner that you have good conceptual clarity. So I think on conceptual clarity, you will be scoring good marks in this. Okay, so various geophysical characteristics of this zone are as follows. Very clearly, they have asked you the characteristics. Now you are going to provide them. It consists of edges of the continental plates such as Asian plate, etc. Okay, various convergent boundaries called subduction zones lie here. Almost 75% of Earth's volcanoes are located here. Example also you have given Mount Krakatoa. Okay, then it is a horse shaped along the edges of Pacific zone, Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. It is a horse shaped feature. I think I forgot that word. So sometimes that happens, it's okay. Okay, no need to panic, it happens. So it is a horse shaped feature along the edges of the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. And I have provided here a diagram also which shows that you know entirely about the Circum-Pacific zone. So before all this, of course, you have to study this topic, but I am showing you how you can evaluate your answer. The edges of the plates are home to some of the most destructive volcanoes. Example, Mariana Trench and a series of the edges of the plates are home to some of the most destructive volcanoes and a series of deep trenches. Example, Mariana Trench and island chains. The edges of the plates are home to some of the most destructive volcanoes. A series of deep trenches, example Mariana Trench, and island chains such as are also found here. Example, New Zealand. Okay, so do I have a conclusion here in this question? No. Is the conclusion required? Not really. What you need to just show is your knowledge of this particular topic. More than that, this question is not really asking you anything. And don't overemphasize on the use of what discuss is. Discuss simply means you have to tell them the factual details of this particular geographical feature. Okay, that is how I have written, and I think out of this, if we evaluate this, then conceptual clarity out of 4, you should be able to get 4 marks. Whether you have answered all the parts, there is only one part in this question, so you will get 2 marks. Relevant keywords are used, definitely will get 2 marks. Articulation is okay, so 1 mark or 2 marks. So out of this 10 marks, I think here you will be able to score anywhere from 7 to 8 marks if you write this kind of an answer. Okay, simple, nothing complicated. Don't try to listen to all these people telling you write intro, write conclusion, write body, format this and that. Stick to the demand of the question. Okay, that is enough. And you can see my writing is not great, it is okay. My presentation is okay. So if it is even like this, you should be able to get pretty good marks. Okay. Now we are going to come to the second question, which is, education is not an injunction, it is an effective and pervasive tool for all-round development of an individual and social transformation. Examine the NEP, New Education Policy, in light of the above statement. So in light of the above statement, you have to examine the New Education Policy. Now, what does this particular statement is saying? This statement is saying basically that education enables not only individual development but also social transformation. It can lead to all-round development of a person and all-round development of a society. That is the main demand of the question, all-round development of individual and society. So how is that happening? That through the NEP, New Education Policy, you have to write 150 words, again 10 marker. You can use up to 7 minutes. I have used too much time. I feel I had too much content that I read about this. So my time management is not good right now. So on the basis of these 4 frameworks that I have given you, you are going to answer this question. Okay. The New Education Policy, I have written NEP 2020 so that I can use NEP 2020 later also. Envisages education as a tool for all-round development of an individual. Nothing from the question only, I have taken that. It will have direct transformative effects in the society and structure as well. So through this introduction, you are making it clear that you have understood the demand of the question, that you are going to focus on the all-round development of individual and the society, and that is what you are going to answer in the question. The policy focuses on a holistic education system using modern science and leveraging it with traditional knowledge for students. For example, ancient Indian sciences will be integrated in the new curriculum for overall individual and societal development. So I am linking the question answer to the question. Question में क्या पूछा है? What has it been asked in the question? That how it leads to individual and societal development. And through this point, I have shown clearly that it will lead to overall societal and individual development because it will integrate ancient Indian sciences as well in the new curriculum. So clearly the examiner is getting the point that I have understood conceptual clarity of the question is there, and I am using keywords from the national New Education Policy as well to answer my question. It enables multidisciplinary studies along with vocational and skill based courses to make students truly all rounded. Again, harping on the same point, showing how NEP is leading to this. It mandates use of mother tongue till class 5, thereby transforming language pedagogical paradigm. Will truly impact entire social structure built around language. So again, I am using the keywords from the question and using the various policy that has been formed in the New Education Policy to answer this question that is about individual and all-round development of the society. Okay. It will universalize pre-primary education by 2025, foundational literacy and numeracy for all by 2025. Okay, so again, I have provided a factual point from the New Education Policy. It will transform higher education system by setting up Higher Education Commission of India, HECI, which will bring rigor necessary to compete at international level. Therefore, from the above analysis, now I have come to conclusion. In this question, of course, conclusion is needed because it is a more kind of a analytical question in which they are asking you how this policy leads to all-round development of this individual and the society. So you have to provide a conclusion because leaving it here will not do justice. Therefore, from the above analysis, it is clear, from the above points we have discussed, it is clear that addressing language access to education, rethinking curriculum and focusing on all-round development, NEP 2020 attempts to transform the student and society of India. So clearly I have summarized. My conclusion is summary. Have I given any solutions? Have I given any way forward? No, not needed. Why do you need to give way forward? Why do you need to give solutions when the question is about analyzing the various aspects of the New Education Policy when it comes to all-round development? So in that, the education policy is already set. You can't really do much to improve it or change it. So what you have to do is show that in the future, by addressing various points that we just discussed, this policy is going to help in all round development of the individual and society. So the conclusion here is summary based, that you're summarizing the points and the keywords from above: language access, rethinking curriculum, focusing on all round development. So these are the keywords that I focus again on and provide a very simple but effective answer. I hope this whole session really helps you. Remember the framework that I've told you about. Remember that this will come with practice. Suddenly ऐसा नहीं हो जाएगा. It will take you at least, practicing 30-40 questions to reach to this level. So keep your hard work on, and I'm sure you will be able to succeed.